We're at the Fort Worth stockyards, and what was once the hotbed of cattle ranching has now become the playground for Rick Roundhouse and all of his peanuts talk. Guys, we have all that and more coming up here on the Bar Rescue After Show.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bar Rescue After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I am Jeff Graham, and I'm here with my captain and co-host, Keven Undergaro.
And listen, if you want to ride in my Tesla, if it's 4 in the back and 2 if you're fat.
4 in the back, 2 if you're fat. Rick Roundhouse was a hell of a character, and we will be getting into all the Rick Roundhouse and more here on the Bar Rescue After Show today. If this is your guys' first time tuning in, we are AfterBuzz TV. We're the ESPN of TV talk, and we do full-length after shows for all of your favorite TV shows, including Bar Rescue. Today we're talking about Season 6, Episode 39.
Don't get
Poor
me started.
John is probably exhausted.
Yeah, it should be Season 12 for anyone else.
It's been 190 episodes in this show.
It's a contractual thing, but whatever.
Either way, guys, we're talking about the Whiskey Girl Saloon, which eventually, of course, becomes the Stampede Saloon in Fort Worth, Texas. But we're not only covering the show, we do have some Bar Rescue updates and a Taffer takeaway for you, so make sure you stay tuned for our full coverage. All that being said, Keven, what did you think of today's episode of Bar Rescue?
I mean, I literally was going to text John saying, I love this episode. I mean, I probably have to start now looking for episodes I don't like.
I know.
You know, I'm wondering if it's me, but it's not, because Shark Tank has that effect on people too. The Shark Tank fan base. I don't think we do it here at AfterBuzz. We used to.
Well, it's not in season right now. It'll be back in the fall. So
do we do it?
We do it. I think we
great.
do a short form coverage.
Do a short form.
Tank,
Okay.
yeah,
but with that show, the fans of that are just, it's still going strong, still into it. And I don't see why, unless John doesn't want to do this, why you don't still do the show. And tonight's episode gave me what I need, which was an amazing structural renovation, a lot of space to work with, of which John took full advantage. Great characters in the fact that they were sloppy and dysfunctional, yet redeemable. So, a lot of good stuff. And then in an area where we're set up to win.
Yes.
It's hard when we're in the mini mall and you just see it, you're like, ugh, there's no way. How do you win? You know? So anyway, I loved the episode. And then we got Phil Wills, the big three. Lisa Marie Joyce last week. We need to see Mia again. I'm missing Mia.
I think we've gotten Mia, Lisa Marie, Phil. The last three. We've had a nice run.
The big three. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's it. To me, just rotate them.
Love it. And we also had Kevin Bledsoe
and
today. Big Kev.
He continues to steal my heart. And
my second favorite Kevin.
Well, thank you.
Behind
but I'm
Kevin
saying
Costner,
we've never gone over our superlatives for the kitchen. I guess I'm always so focused on the bar, but I like to eat more than I like to drink, being an Italian. So I love what we do in our kitchens, but he's up there for me.
Love Kev. The thing I like about Kevin Bledsoe is this show can have such a manic energy about it, and Kev's just always, low key.
John called me yesterday, said, hey, I need a bunch of guys. Okay, cool.
Brought a big old brisket.
Yeah, but we got no kitchen. All right, no biggie.
I'll figure it out.
But
Kevin Bledsoe, baby.
Yeah.
I love it too. I totally agree, Kev. Great episode. Loved the characters. I think Rick Roundhouse definitely made an impression. Can't wait to talk. He had a very interesting approach. Most guys, when they drink, talk about how well endowed they are. He talked about how poorly endowed he was compared to his friends, which was a very interesting take on flirting. I've never seen that before.
I just love how he was 100% to blame for everything.
Yep.
Starting the bar, bringing in investors, and then chasing away whoever was there.
I can't wait to talk. We're going to talk all about these characters. I want to first talk, though, about the stockyards of Fort Worth. What a cool area of Texas.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No. And
I've never been to Texas
here's the thing. I always get nervous about Texas because it's funny that some places in the South look at us, I'm a Northerner, look at us like Yankees and are angry. And certain places in Texas, like, if you're not from Texas, like, you're already screwed from being a Northerner, forget it.
Right.
But just not even being from Texas. So I've always kind of avoided it because of that reason. But when you see how these guys are, and we'll talk about Rick Roundhouse, or what's his real name? Ethan?
Luke,
that's right.
Beshara.
Luke. But when you talk about him, he spoke to the good spirit of Texas.
Totally.
And we'll get into that. So and then I do love history, and I love the Old West. And interesting, the only place they still do the cow stampede every day.
Twice a day, right?
Twice a day, yeah.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, cool history. That's the thing I would love about Texas, even though I haven't been. I know what you mean, where there's a bit of trepidation because you kind of are entering a different country.
Yeah.
But I think just the
boy, we got to teach you some respect down here. I could just see myself out in the woods getting my ass kicked. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this trifecta of owners. We have Luke, who, of course, Rick Roundhouse, quite a character, and his buddies, Fred and Keith. Interestingly, when I first met Luke and I found out he was this attorney, I thought he was going to be the one getting boned by his incompetent subordinates, but it was the opposite.
Yeah.
I kind of theorize with Luke, he's a very hardworking attorney during the day, and he expected this to sort of be his side hustle, his caca, as some do. But I think he didn't realize this was also a business.
Well, again, we talked about this last week.
Yep.
He's a lawyer. He had the 70 grand, needed to just finish the basement, make his second bar, and be Rick Roundhouse every weekend for all of his friends. That's it.
But instead, he wanted to own and he wanted to invest, and he was an active impediment to the success of this bar. Yeah. They're $260K in debt, and Fred and Keith are trying their best, but they just can't do it with Rick Roundhouse coming in and talking about his tiny penis. This was wild. Jon comes in, and it's interesting. They're not able to do recon. Did you
only
think they
open 2 nights a week, which I love. So I always love when we get these weird twists and turns. And Jon's like, how the hell do I figure this out?
I know.
So I liked it. I liked the fact that we didn't have a recon.
Yeah, and they adapted well. Phil checked out some other bars, but he only really checked out one other bar, didn't he?
So we think.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see a couple. All you'd have to do is go to the.
Well, I think. Listen, I feel like you've seen one, you've seen them all on that street.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's Texas. It's Fort Worth. You really think a blues bar is working down there?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you think a hip hop bar is working down there?
Well, that's what I liked. We'll talk about the renovation.
I think the street was probably mostly country bars.
Yeah, I'm sure it was all country bars. Line dancing, margaritas, which was interesting. Essentially, I think the episode really starts to pick up when we have our first sort of drill sergeant moment where Taffer comes in the next day. Even though they're not able to do recon, he meets the staff and he just rips Rick Roundhouse a new one. And Rick didn't even remember most of his behavior from the night before.
No.
It was I love when they roll the footage. That's the one great thing about reality. Well, I don't know. I think, you don't think you said that, but let's roll the tape. Such a great moment.
He walked out, but this is why he was, he came back in. And why do you think he came back in?
Because of humility. I think he's got a big heart. I can relate to this. It would be mortifying. No one is more ashamed of their behavior when they claim to not remember it than seeing it. That's all insecurity he's dealing with, right? It's the kind of thing where it manifests in anger and he's taking it out on everyone else, but it's his own insecurity and he knows he's got issues. So he leaves, but he knows what's best for the greater good. He knows these guys are his buddies, and he really takes a slice of humble pie, comes back and owns up.
Okay, so most of the time I feel like they come back because they go, shit, I need my bar saved. In this case, I really think he was more like, is this how I want America to remember me? They have me on tape being a jackass. Like, I got to get back in there and redeem myself, which is fine.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yes, so which is fine. And I'm so glad that he did. Yeah, he didn't go the route like most of our friends on the show do.
And
who I also love.
I totally love it.
When they don't comply. But
because of that, I felt like Jon was really quick to forgive.
Yes, of course, because we don't have time.
Right.
I've got 4 days to turn this bar around. I don't have time to now belabor and keep beating this guy up.
Definitely.
If he's in, he's in. Let's do it.
And he was in. So our first round of cocktails.
And by the way, that's the nice part of Texas. So I'm Boston. There's good Boston and there's bad Boston. I don't mean like good in terms of the rich area and the bad. No, I mean there's good Bostonians who will give you the shirt off their back, will take a bullet for you.
Yep.
The most loyal and generous person you will meet, and the most have your back person in the world, my opinion, is Boston. And trust me, when I tell you the flip side, you'll believe what I'm saying, and don't think it is biased. But the flip side is a bad Bostonian is the worst human being that walks the planet, at least in this country.
Bitter.
No, because there's bitter Bostonians are nice. They just hurt. No, I mean in terms of shady, and in terms of cutthroat and shrewd, and because you'll never see it coming.
Yep.
A New Yorker, obvious. An LA con man, showbiz guy, obvious.
You can smell it.
Bostonian, no way. You'll never see it coming, man. So bringing it to Texas, The worst is probably the redneck who's racist or is just, it's all about Texas and F everyone else. We're bigger and better in Texas. There's that. But the good Texas, to me, is the wholesome. A handshake means something.
Yeah.
You even see it in certain country songs and courtships. You see there is a
gentlemanliness,
a decency. Yes. And that's what I liked. I saw in Luke.
Definitely.
Was that like, you know what? I am not being a good man. I am not being a good friend. And he said, and I gave you my word, Taffer. And I think that means something in that culture. And I think that's awesome. And
Definitely.
I think we really got to see that this week.
Well, what was nice was from that moment, it really became about bettering the team and bettering the bar. So we move on to our first round of training. I thought this was interesting. We've seen this before, but not in a minute, where Phil has each of them make one of their standard cocktails to see how much they vary. So he challenges all of them to make a simple margarita, and each of the bartenders has different measurements, different tastes. So that's when Phil realizes we've got to come together and just make one standard simple margarita. That's what they prep for drinks for stress test. And then for food, I have it right here. It's the...
We took the storage closet, which I love, which was a pit. Did you see the beds? I mean, it was like, I just love okay, done. Kitchen. So a couple of shelves, and they bought some warmers, those steam things you get at a restaurant supply place. And we're making food.
Absolutely. Pulled pork mac and cheese looked good to me.
Right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Bar food.
Absolutely. If you're drinking, nothing better.
That's right.
Yeah. I love it. So they're prepped for stress test. And for this version of the stress test, interestingly, they have this 30-minute countdown timer, and they're putting straws in the cups. What was interesting was each of these bartenders had their own, they each had to hit the 30 drinks. So unfortunately, Cece did not make the cut, and they were not afraid to single her out when she didn't get her drinks made.
It's funny. It got me thinking about, I always talk about my civilian days and my samurai days. And when I was a civilian, I cut corners at my jobs. I didn't take pride in my part-time jobs, and always thinking that none of that mattered, because you think in your brain, well, the stuff that matters I will care about, and the truth is you don't. It's such a barometer for the rest of other things in your life. So when I see how sloppy the bartenders were, and how even in the Podbuster, that's the commercial break, one of the bartenders, that you probably didn't see it, but one of the because I know you DVR and you just fast forward everything, but in the commercials they put up these things called Podbusters just to get you to stop the DVR and watch.
It's a little tease.
And one of the girls was basically kind of saying that, I don't know how to make any drinks. Can I just give you whatever beers you have and that's it? And kind of laughing it off. And you see that sloppy exterior, that sloppy attitude, sloppy personality, and you wing it at your job, right? And you just mail it in, and you think that it doesn't affect other areas of your life, but it does. Those people are mailing it in almost every area of their lives.
Yeah.
And rarely do you have a Taffer come in and go, hey, or Phil will say, raise your friggin' standards.
Right.
And I was watching that. I was realizing how lucky these people are, but yet I don't know if they see the gift that they're getting. It's not just teaching you how to bartend. It's getting you to raise your standards for what you do. How many of us raise our standards, Jeff? I'm every year, I know someone every year tries to be 10% better at everything they do. They cut back 10% in a certain food, or, this guy, he happens to be 70. Wow. But it's really cool, his life. I know for me, this was a year I wanted to just make upgrades. So, but I look back, there was a time I was like those bartenders, and it's you just want to shake them and say, if you bring your game up here, watch how your game will come up in other areas of your life.
You're only hurting yourself when you...
Yeah, well, you don't realize how it translates over to so many other things, and that's where civilian thinks it doesn't.
It's a great point, Kevin.
I hear, well, if it was my bar, I would. Right. No, you really wouldn't.
Yep.
And you'll never have a bar because you do work like this.
It's such a great point, Kev.
Sorry.
No, it's true. The standards we set in the menial tasks are the standards we will set in the important tasks.
That's right.
That's something I've learned a lot in my 20s is, just as I'm ascending in this business.
I'm hoping you're learning that here.
That's exactly what I'm learning here. It's been really important for me, and it's something I really appreciate that you've challenged me with. So what was interesting, though, I thought, was they initially called out Cece because she only made 18 drinks compared to the 32 her co-bartenders made. But they did note that hers were more consistent, so the other drinks were rushed. So the perfect bar staff is able to be consistent but also high quality, but also had speed.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting point they made, and I thought they at least pulled back on just destroying CZ with this because her drinks were more consistent. So it's a good point to bring up. For our round 2 training, interesting choices of drinks. We had the adult juice boxes with the LED light inside.
I thought that was great.
I think it's smart.
I mean, smart, and it reminded me of Spirits on Bourbon Street, the famous Taffer bar we put in the chair, the barber chair
in New Orleans,
and those special cups that they just sell so many of.
Yeah,
those big giant lit up drink cups. They blow. From what I'm told, they blow through so many. So I like that.
It's a fun gimmick, and we'll talk about with the.
Well, remember, you're on a tourist street, Jeff.
Yep, we're on a tourist street, and with the direction they took the bar for the reno, I think it's a good move. And then these brisket tacos, man, these looked good.
So good.
And I love it's a simple. I've gotten pretty into cooking, but it's a simple marinade. It's just yellow mustard, salt, pepper, and garlic, and that's all you need for a good brisket marinade.
And how about? Here's why it was so brilliant. It goes in this 2 giant slabs go into the smoker when you get to work that day.
Yep.
And that's what you're using all night to serve that high quality meal.
It's great.
Practical, efficient, just one smoker outside, the little kitchen, the little thing inside, and you're good. So I always love when these struggling bars, again, have the simple menu and the simple drink menu, because then they know the staff can meet the challenge.
Definitely. You're setting them up for success.
Yes.
Our heart-to-heart, this was really meaningful. We had these 3 guys come together and own up to the fact that it can be challenging to work with your friends, but you have to be able to navigate that business-first mentality. So we're not only seeing the business heal here, but also the friendship between these 3 guys heal in this heart-to-heart with Jon. That was kind of moving. I really liked it.
I liked it. And again, the decency of I thought came out.
For all of them. I loved it. And then, of course, best part of the episode, we have our renovation.
Incredible.
Loved. Favorite thing, one thing if you had to pick.
Oh, my God.
It would be the cowhide seats for me at the bar.
For me, the fact that they did the outside.
Oh, yeah.
I just love when you take what little every inch you have and you turn into something. I love the photo booth thing he created. I love the DJ lights. I love the fact that if we don't have a band, we still have good dancing. Jon just made that bar go from just a rundown dump to a real tourist bar like that you would see at any tourist location in Florida or Cancun, or those tourist bars are almost cookie cutter. They all have a look, but they all have all those dynamic features because they're just money makers, and they make as much money as they can in as many different areas as possible. And to have done to have taken the storage room and made that the kitchen, because sometimes I notice they'll have big empty rooms and we never Jon doesn't get to it,
right?
Or they never do anything with it. But I love when they go, hey, we've got this back area, let's do it.
Yep.
I've seen Jon skip over those things. Like they could have not even acknowledged that back, and we still would have been very satisfied with the bar. But the fact that they saw the back, shit, we got to do the back too.
They went all in, and they even replaced the fridges. It was a different bar.
And as I saw it, and I know I'm excited to hear the updates, but as I saw it, I said, hey, even if these guys in this crew can't handle it, someone will buy this now.
Oh yeah,
because this is this is set. This is ready to succeed for the right person.
Well, the thing I loved about it was they turned it into this kind of country nightclub crossover. So they had these beautiful Chauvet lights.
Right. No, and country is just huge now. It's never been bigger, and it's crossed over now to mainstream.
Yep.
So anyway, I loved
Gorgeous.
it.
Loved it. The renovation, of course, will always lead to the future of bars, and for our bar rescue,
in a very generic update on Paramount's end.
Yep, which is never a good sign.
He's
right?
paying off the debt, and the other guy's doing more managerial duties.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy.
Oh no. Speaking of oh boy, we are going to get into our news right now, which of course is our bar rescue updates. Every week, we are the podcast that brings you the update on these bars and where they land. And Kev, I'm about to break your heart. So this renovation was done in March. Bar closed a couple weeks ago. Yep. July 2nd was when they announced their closure. Jeremy, who was, of course, the stupid advisor that Jon called out during the episode, which I'll do a quick Taffer takeaway because I know we promised you segments.
Yeah.
That would be mine, was if you're going to give someone a managerial role, you have to give them managerial responsibilities or they won't step up. You can't allow someone to raise the bar or rise to an occasion if you don't give them standards to rise to.
Right, like we talked about that earlier, right?
Yep.
Even for individuals. That's Toyota. Toyota is like not only demands of the CEO and the execs, it demands of everyone on the assembly line as well. Because they know. And I'll tell you my takeaway is that the three of you helped one another fail.
Whoa.
Now the three of you need to help each other succeed. But it was a great line because we always want to blame one person, but 99% of the time, we all helped each other fail. It's in one way or another.
Yeah, enabling.
Yes.
You can't enable. Even if you truly love someone, enabling them is loving them in the worst way possible.
Yeah, no one wins.
So, right now, it looks like the bar is closed. But what's interesting is, so Jeremy on his Facebook said, I appreciate everyone's concern on why this happened and the personal texts and phone calls. This was a business decision made by ownership. Therefore, that's where I'll leave it. If you want to know more, contact the owners, please. But I was reading in the comments of the Stampede Saloon Bar Rescue Update section that said someone thinks they might be reopening in a couple weeks, according to Fred's Facebook. So I don't know. But does it surprise you to hear that right now we're in a state of...
No, because you can't sustain 2 days a week. They didn't have... That wasn't the right crew. And it just... A new management group, a new ownership group comes in there and really makes that place cook, for sure. And I think a lot of times what I find in business, even in careers, people they always say we're reopening, look for our reopening, and that's kind of how they take the sting off of the failure and the close. And then people go, oh, okay, no, they're reopening. And then just kind of 6 months, a year goes by, and nothing, and you kind of almost...
TV shows do this too, where rather than cancel a show...
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Such a good point.
A lot of careers where people go, oh, no, we're retooling, we're going to be back.
Back in development.
Yeah. It's like, it's all... And then it's their way of dodging the failure. And then it's just by the time it's like official, it's a year or two later and nobody cares.
Yep. It's tragic but true.
So I think it's done, and I think that I hope... Because Jon and them did such great work, I hope someone comes in, buys the place for a dime on the dollar.
Yep.
And you take those bones and does something with it.
I believe that will happen. And of course, even if our hearts break with the closure, guys, Bar Rescue always lifts us. It's our favorite show on Paramount Network, and we're here every Monday between noon and 2 p.m. covering the show. We urge you guys to hop in the live chat and join us. I know the show airs the night before, but we're the ESPN of TV Talk, guys, and we're always covering shows here. We're also covering Yellowstone on Paramount Network, which has kind of become a runaway hit for that network.
Yeah,
it's an important,
now they've invested a lot in that.
They have.
I mean, and it's funny, Jon's show is so good that Taffer's show is so good that they kept his show, because as soon as they became Paramount, I know the goal was for them to become HBO.
Prestige.
We have Paramount is a library of films,
yep.
and like why are we? Let's not be a niche cable station that's going to be our business in a few years. Let's exploit our library, and I love it because it easily. When this all collapses, it easily becomes a great digital station, Paramount. So it was a smart move. But I know, Jon, we had some concerns. Are they going to keep a reality show? But that's how good Bar Rescue performs. You can't get rid of it.
Absolutely not. It's a foundational show for that network.
Yeah.
So we ask you guys to check out our other shows. We cover everything here, as I just mentioned. We're the ESPN of TV Talk, and we have this amazing pool of passionate hosts and TV watchers. And I host here, I produce here, and I still listen to a bunch of our after shows because they're that good. I'm a fan, even though I'm a producer here as well. So we urge you guys to check those out.
And do we do Succession? Because this is my new find.
I think we covered season 1 of Succession. I know that that's an Emmy-nominated show, and it's the new hot show. So even if we haven't covered it, we definitely will be.
All right, so because season 2 is coming up, so all right.
That's right. Yeah,
let's get a panel together.
HBO, man, I mean, they just don't have a miss.
Yeah, usually.
Sometimes those small.
Lately,
The Brink was that one with Jack Black that didn't really make it.
They've had a couple, but you're right. Yeah, all good. And now next week, I know you're not big on the previews. I am.
Yeah.
It just seems very chaotic. They can't really accomplish much, and the two guys, I don't know if they're brothers or partners, but one just starts bawling his eyes out. He can't handle. I can't do this. He starts literally bawling his eyes out. So it looks like it could be a good episode.
It is a bar rescue renaissance right now. We're in a golden age of little episodes here. I think it's been great.
You know what? We keep promising we're going to do it. But before the end of the year, let's do the Pirates.
I can't wait. I did watch it.
Rewatch. And
Kev, these people.
Well, John. Okay, we should have said at the beginning, and we'll go out on this note. The first thing he said to Rick. Rocket. What is his name? Rick. I've already forgotten. Yeah, Luke's name.
Luke Bashara.
What? Yeah, but what's his stage
Rick
name?
Roundhouse, baby.
Yeah, he just said,
Fantasy.
"I don't do fantasy," and I was like, "Oh no, Pirates!"
Trauma flashbacks.
Yeah, John was having trauma because he does not like doing fantasy.
He was back in Nam.
Is there enough to do another Pirates episode?
Oh, for sure,
right?
Kevin.
Were you blown away?
Oh, Kevin.
Years later,
though. We need to save it.
Yes, that's all I want to know. Yes or no?
Oh, I'm in.
5 years, 6 years later, it still holds up.
Kev.
Right? I can tell your jaw's open. Yeah.
Well, it's like they would make progress and then 5 steps back.
But even still, the whole thing, right?
We need to save it. We need to save it for the fans, guys. That's what we do here at AfterBuzz, and we thank you for tuning in. Guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can do that at Jeffrey C. Graham. I just interviewed Andy Samberg at Comic-Con on Saturday.
Nice.
And he said some things about potential sequels in development that I pushed him on a bit in our red carpet interview. So if you're a fan of Popstar Hot Rod, some information, check that out on our Red Carpets channel.
Very nice.
Yes.
I'm at Undergaro, and you can check me out on The Tomorrow Show, Wednesday nights, 7 Pacific Standard Time, and then, of course, available on demand on the Not Sam Network. But, I'm always around AfterBuzz, too.
Can't wait for next week, Kev. This is a highlight of my week covering bar rescue, and we know it is for you guys too. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.